Propeller governor system. What you see here before you is the governor itself in this area here, the propeller hub. This is the propellers. That's not obvious. There's an unfeathering accumulator here, and the propeller piston is right here. Let's trace the flow of the oil, and that will help us to understand how this works. With the prop control lever set in the high RPM low pitch setting, the pilot valve is in its down position. This is the oil sump here, and these gears are the engine driven oil pump. As the engine rotates, oil is forced through the pilot valve, through the pressure lines, and into the propeller hub assembly. It then goes through the piston here into this cavity, and what that does is it forces the piston rearward, and that positions the blades in high RPM. If you want to reverse the process, you pull the propeller control lever to the rear. That pushes the speed adjusting control lever forward, and what that will do is lift your pilot valve, thereby allowing the oil pressure in the propeller hub cavity here to evacuate and head towards the sump. Comes up here, traces through the green, back down into the sump, recirculates. All the while, the oil pump continues to function and circulates back on itself through a check valve here. In the event you want to feather, prop control lever goes all the way to the feathering position. The piston evacuates the oil and is pushed forward like this. The forces that aid the piston being pushed forward are the spring inside the propeller hub assembly and the counterweights you see here on the sides of each propeller. In addition to the counterweights and the spring, the dome is loaded with a nitrogen gas that forces the piston forward. If you look at it from the front, you can see the reduced profile of the propeller blades, which show some aerodynamic efficiency and safety. This is the unfeathering accumulator, and what that will do is when your propeller control lever is in the forward position and your high pressure oil is flowing through the system, it will pressurize the unfeathering accumulator so that in the event that you feather and you want to go unfeather, it will release a charge into the oil system and will force the piston back in such a fashion. The main function of the constant speed propeller and the propeller governor system are underspeed and overspeed conditions. Underspeed would be in a climb, and the bite of the propeller is starting to slow down, so it would go to a very fine pitch. It would get the maximum rotations for the power it's producing. An overspeed condition would be an example in a dive, and the propeller has no load on it as it accelerates towards the ground and starts to speed up. In that condition, as the engine speeds up, so do the flyweights. The flyweights then move out in this direction over here, which causes your pilot valve to raise, allowing oil pressure inside the hub to evacuate and causing the blades to go into a higher pitch to take more of a bite. As this happens, the engine will slow down, as will the flyweights, and they will find themselves in an equilibrium between the tension of the speeder spring and the centrifugal force of the flyweights, pushing themselves outwards.